Yeah! We're live after some technical difficulties. Everyone just calm down. Okay. It wasn't a password thing. It wasn't. I actually lied the whole time just to make Alex sign in so we could use his money
100%.
for the draft instead of mine. Live from the studio. Alex Caruso, Noah Hills, Noah More Parties, the Big Apple. We're here to draft on Underdog. Noah's first Underdog draft ever.
Of all time.
Of all time. Him living out in Idaho is really cut off his nuts there a little bit. It's like one of 4 states in which you're not allowed to do underdog drafts.
Not allowed to have nuts.
Not allowed to have nuts, not allowed to have underdog drafts. 2 of my favorite things in the world. Really unfortunate. Alex, what's going on?
I'm happy to be here. I'm glad I can have nuts, underdog drafts, all of that.
You got the whole package.
Yeah, got the whole package. We get to live life. So
yeah, what do you got going on right now?
Just working on content, everything just under the sun. So getting ready for thread season, June 1st. Threads every day until the season starts. So it is going to be a lot of late nights, but everybody loves Twitter threads.
I actually want to, well, real quick, before we get into the draft, 101. J. Jeff, Jamar Chase, C-Mac.
I think it's got to be C-Mac. Chase upside at all times.
I think I'm a Justin Jefferson guy.
I'm going to out veto you, even though it's on your account, and take J. Jeff. The draft's about to start, and we have the 101 right now, but I wanted to talk a little bit more on thread season, because I've seen over the last few years, there have been a few creators that have grown pretty tremendously on Twitter at a very quick pace, and they've done it through the threads that you make. And I've seen that in other industries too. If I start following people that are big in the content creation space or wherever it is, they also grow through that same avenue. And that's kind of been the leverage point on Twitter. I see a lot of people in fantasy Twitter get mad about people that make threads though. You see that a lot? Do people give you a lot of shit for that?
Every day you get DMs, you get comments, everything under the sun. But just because of the Twitter algorithm and how many extra impressions you get just from making a thread, it's worth it, but it definitely adds some extra haters, but those haters just end up driving more impressions at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I love that people, it's always the people that are too it's not my thing. I'm never going to make a thread, but I would never go on there and be you're a loser for making a thread, but it's all these people that are scared. It's the same people that are you're a loser for doing TikTok, you're a loser for doing YouTube. It's always the people that are scared to do it themselves that will come at you because it kind of just reminds them of them not doing it themselves. So props to you. And that shit made you grow very, very quickly on Twitter. So thread season full effect, baby.
Have to.
Let's go. How we doing in here? Let me put the draft up on the screen because we're about 6 picks in already. Yes, sir. Oh, we need to go dark mode to help the people. Put the board up. You guys see that? There we go. We got they're everywhere. Tony and Sexy look a little different here. Yeah, we just a lot more sexy. Sexy is still no, Sexy's back. He's actually in the office right now, but not for long. All right, so we've had the run of wide receivers. Now, no, I know this is your first underdog draft. Basically, you start 3 wide receivers and 2 running backs, and it's half PPR. But people have gone crazy with the wide receivers because it's best ball format. So it's they automatically start the best players at each position, and you could start 3 wide receivers and a flex. So people go crazy and draft. It's 18 players on your team. A lot of teams make up 8 or 9 wide receivers, 4 or 5 running backs. A lot of that stems from the first couple tournaments they ran, BBM 1 and 2. People look at the championship team of those, and then they just duplicate those rosters. Okay. And the first year, the person only drafted 4 running backs, which is kind of crazy, and 9 wide receivers, but they won. So that next year, everybody was drafting 4 running backs, and the next team was 5 running back, whatever it is. And that's kind of how people just take whatever is working at the time or worked the previous year and kind of hammer it home. But I think things are getting a little bit crazy when you're starting to see, I've gotten Saquon at the 207, 208 in these drafts where Chris Olave goes before him. And I get it because you want to get wide receivers, but in half PPR, it's not the wide receivers really go crazy here. Alex, you've done some underdog drafts.
Definitely done a couple. Yeah, I think the wide receivers are crazy. I think that's the toughest thing is just adjusting to every year of what the new strategy is. just because like whoever wins the previous year, everyone's trying to copy it. So it's like, do you take advantage and go a little bit more running back heavy? Because that's kind of like you're getting so much extra value from the people that are trying to like keep the same format of the previous winner versus like keeping what works. And that's the person that won it all. So why don't you just keep doing the same thing? But the values change so much with this.
Are similar teams winning each year? Like, why duplicate last year if
they end up being a kind of like the same build a lot of the time. Most of them are 4 or 5 running backs. I don't know if a 6 running back team has won it, but for the most part, yeah, it's like 0 RB tends to be the build that ends up winning it for a lot of guys. I don't know if it's like specific just because I'm sure like whoever took Josh Jacobs in the 7th last year ended up being like a team that won. And a lot of it comes down to because the playoffs is, I mean, what we're drafting in right now is just a 12-team league where you're just playing against your league. This is not a tournament, but in those tournament games, the playoffs start in like week 14, 15, 16, 17. So you need to be in like the top half of scoring or the top, 10 of scoring for each of those teams. So it's like, if you happen to have Jerick McKinnon in week 14, who scores 2 touchdowns, 150 yards, not a lot of teams have him. So like you have him, you move on. So
even
it's
if
like,
he didn't do shit like the first 12 weeks.
So like regular season, I feel like is more draft focused. Once you get into the playoffs, you kind of just have to have the lucky roster that has the teams that go off. So that's when people start to talk about like week 17 correlation. Like we want the Chiefs and the Bengals players because they play each other. Probably going to be a shootout. Don't care if they did well throughout the regular season, but like if Kadarius Toney hits in week 17, like we got him on our roster.
Yep. Good for 2.
Yes, sir. Okay. So there's a lot of good quarterbacks up there right now. Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, all the top QBs. But we also have Derrick Henry, Ramondre Stevenson, Breece Hall, the best available wide receiver, Devonta Smith. We could stack right here. We could go Smith and Jalen Hurts.
It's not a bad idea, especially the correlation with the good week 17 schedule.
Hell
the
yeah.
correlation. No, I'm all in for a stack. I think the stacks definitely do the best. Someone's done a lot of best ball drafts. I'm all for going Hurts and Smith, especially pairing them together.
Does that kill you to go with Devonta Smith, Noah, over like Derrick Henry or Ramondre Stevenson?
I think there's a little bit of a tear break after Stevenson, like Hall's maybe hurt. Like who knows what's going on with ETN?
I agree.
Is it worth? Like, this is a genuine question. Is it worth passing on Mahomes at QB1 to stack?
Well, we already took Hurts, which is now the issue.
Okay.
Because I'd rather have Hurts and like a good running back than Smith and I don't know who else, but
and we have 5 seconds.
What do you want to go? Stevenson, Hurts, Henry, Smith.
My vote is Derrick Henry.
Fuck. We are on the wide receiver page. So we just put him in.
It's fine. It's fine. We'll just get Derrick Henry next round.
Well, honestly, we might be able to. I think the reason that I agree there's like the tier drop off after Henry Stevenson because it gets a little murky after that. But I also think we're in like a weird spot this year where J.K. Dobbins, his ADP is at 57. Joe Mixon's at 58. Damian Pierce at 63. Swift, Pacheco, Akers are all the way down here to the point where I'm okay
James
with
Conner.
Yeah, I'm okay with like 3 or 4 of those guys a little bit later in the draft.
Doesn't feel like we're missing out on much, especially I think the thing that people forget about sometimes the fact that there's 3 wide receivers that we're taking here. Like when we only need to start 2 running backs every week. And that's probably why these 4 and 5 running back teams are winning because they just draft the guys that stay healthy.
I'm really interested to see if what happens like when we look back on this year, because I'm starting to think if you're able to get like Saquon at 207, Derrick Henry at the 305, if those teams, because typically like Hayden Winks puts out a lot of graphs on his Twitter account about the builds and the makeups of the teams that win these tournaments. And a lot of the times, like the charts will put out would be the most successful teams based on how many running backs they drafted through X number of rounds. And it'll be like the most successful teams don't draft a running back through 4 rounds, through 5 rounds. And I wonder if now, because they're falling so far, if the teams who go running back heavy early, because it's so like fade the public like zig when they zag, end up being the good teams.
That'll be the crazy part, but I feel like it's still not going to change. Like if the like we were just talking about, if you can still get James Conner and James Conner's the guy that stays healthy, like you're just playing the healthy game at that point. So the production's not going to be that much different, I think, as a whole.
Yeah.
Especially when it's just those 2 running backs. Like once again, like if you have like the super anchor and Christian McCaffrey has his 2019 season, yeah, that's different. But unless a running back has like a mega outlier season, I think the value is probably going to continue to be in the later round running backs and the James Connors, the Joe Mixons that are still going like way later than they should at this point.
Yeah, I think that's another way to look at this is like maybe not in a league like this, but for tournaments, it's almost like if you start this early, think about the amount of teams that are going to enter into August. And by that time, your team is going to be stacked with like 6th round Joe Mixons when they now have to draft him in the 2nd or 3rd round. So I think that's another way to play. Like you draft this early to gain the advantage on teams that draft later. But like Derrick Henry at the 3-9, like in what world is it? He's been like a top 6 pick for 5 years straight. Yeah. I get it. Like Tennessee's kind of ugly, but
you'll never see that in a tournament because, like, right now, Twitter's been going crazy this week about the fact that Derrick Henry plays the Texans in week 15 and 17. Ooh, so for all of those tournaments right now, if you get like one of those kind of crazy stacks where you're stacking, you know, Derrick Henry in week 7, 15, and 17,
that feels like something more. Yeah.
If you have a CJ Stroud in that week too, where you're kind of grabbing the correlations, or you're grabbing like a Stroud or like even like a Nico Collins on the other side of that.
I feel like the Texans, like, I know this is more of a specific use case here, but I feel like the Texans defense actually might be okay this year with DeMeco Ryans coming in, drafting all the pieces that they had. I think they'll be a pretty good defense. Like, I don't think it's gonna be Derrick Henry versus, you know how like the AFC South, he just runs wild over them.
Like creating shootouts on his own.
Yeah. The only running back in the history of the NFL that just creates shootouts. What we got in the comment section here? Najee before Stevenson is wild. That is correct.
Completely agree.
What's on my Aaron Jones pick? Bad.
Philly's undervalued. I kind of, what do you think about Aaron Jones this year? I feel like he's kind of undervalued.
Yeah, I feel like I'm mostly expecting what he's done. Like, I don't think the drop off from last year's Aaron Rodgers to like whatever Jordan Love is going to do is going to be that large. Like, I like Aaron Jones.
I think he's going to catch a ton of passes. Like last year, I think one of the big intriguing parts of drafting Jones was Devontae Adams out of there. So Aaron Jones is going to catch a ton of passes. He set career highs in like every statistic catching the ball. And it's like Jordan Love coming in. Who's he going to trust here? Aaron Jones, they got a bunch of rookie, you know.
Does he keep the same snaps though? Because the whole storyline was AJ Dillon was going to overtake him last year, and then it never happened.
He's terrible.
Why is it?
I just don't think AJ Dillon's good enough. Like he's fine for what he is, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Problem is he takes so much goal line work though. Like he actually did take a lot of the goal line work last year, and Jones is like kind of like Kamara, where not going to get a ton of work, but he might score like 15 rushing touchdowns because he's so good on the goal line. But if he doesn't get it this year,
his big fantasy seasons have been like 18, 19 touchdowns.
Like insane. Yeah. That makes me a little bit nervous.
So what's the move here then? We have 2 wide receivers now. We have a quarterback. We get 2 back-to-back picks.
All right. Like ETN at the 412. This is by far the latest I've seen him drop. We have ETN, Kenneth Walker, Miles Sanders, J.K. Dobbins at wide receiver, Mike Williams. Like I don't even hate Terry McLaurin down here. What are you looking at me like that for?
Would you take ETN over Joe Mixon though?
I don't think I would.
I wouldn't either. Okay. I'm taking Joe Mixon all day there.
We'll put Mixon in the queue then.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go Mixon and McLaurin here. I don't think we need to force another running back.
Yeah. I like that.
There's McLaurin, Mike Will, D-Hop I'm like really off on until we understand the situation that he's in.
Agree.
Yeah, McLaurin's the best guy there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agree.
Tight end, we got Hawk's pretty good too. We already got Justin Jefferson though. We could grab Hawk and then grab Kirk as our QB2 later, but he might be too early for us to grab him though for a second QB. We don't really need it with Hurts. Let's grab Terry.
I like Terry here.
I think our team's
solid trio wide receiver.
I think our team is fucking solid so far. We got Hurts, Mixon, Jefferson, Smith, and Terry McLaurin. It's kind of beautiful. We're making magic over here.
That's the goal.
Like Drake London before Terry feels kind of crazy. Jerry Jeudy, I don't trust him at all.
What should be the strategy right now with tight ends this year? Because like after there's like the Travis Kelce tier and there's the like what else is everyone else going to do with in terms of just like consistency week to week with even like your guys like Mark Andrews or George Kittle. We don't know what their quarterback situations are going to look like. Like what should be the tight end strategy? Is it still the late round tight end? We just play dart throws, or should we be drafting these mid tier tight ends like your Mark Andrews, your George Kittles, your TJ Hawkinsons?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm pretty confident in Mark Andrews near the top.
I don't know if I feel great about like drafting where you have to though. Like I'm a little scarred. I had him in a lot of places last year, and he was so good at the start, and then like
it was not good after
fell off. Yeah, and they add Zay Flowers and OBJ. So if he's priced accordingly, like obviously I want Mark Andrews, but if I have to draft him around after Kelce or something like that, I'd probably rather wait for maybe like Goddard. I think Goddard's like a really, really solid player that's kind of being underrated. Like if we can grab Goddard next round, that'd be kind of cool because we got Jalen Hurts already.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Kincaid?
As rookie tight ends for one is scary. Like I get that people are looking over the allure of he's a tight end and he plays in the slot. Like I think it's getting way overvalued right now, the fact that he plays in the slot And for me, I'd rather go after someone that's more proven, that has a little bit more athleticism and upside, at least their first year playing. Again, who are they going to put after him? I'm not a Gabriel Davis believer. I'm not really a believer in any other pass catcher in that Bills offense, but I still think that year one tight end is just like not something that I want to be getting on board, especially where right now he's getting pushed into the top 12 tight ends.
He's getting drafted really early. Would you take Kincaid over Cole Kmet?
Yes.
You would take Kincaid over Kmet?
Yes.
Okay.
The Bears pass volume just not going to be enough.
Yeah.
Like it's just never going to get to the point that we want it to, or we'd like to see it.
Where does Njoku go? I feel like
he's like he's before Kincaid. He's in the tier of, I think, like Kincaid, Njoku, maybe like Pat Fryermuth around there.
Yeah, okay.
Where like you feel good about them, but you're like, unless, you know what I mean? I like Njoku.
That's kind of where I'd be like targeting, where it's that little middle pocket of Njoku where you feel confident and you're still taking it a little bit later. But after that, I'm just going dart throws. Like I don't like that like tight end 10 to 12 range of like your Kmets, your Kincaids. Like I just feel like it's like there's like a little bit of hope, but there's not enough there to believe. I'd rather take a dart throw later.
I think what's interesting about best ball is because, like, say you draft 3 tight ends, realistically, okay, on a given week, to be a tight end 1, you need to score a touchdown. Right. So basically, if you're drafting 3 tight ends, you need 1 out of the 3 to score a touchdown. I think that's a good way to look at it. Like you can draft Juwan Johnson, who's probably going to finish the year with 6 to 7 touchdowns. Draft like 3 guys like that, and you'll probably get a tight end 1 out of the 3 of them. The upside might not be there. I don't even wouldn't do it in a regular league, obviously, but in best ball, this is a unique year for rookie tight ends where most of them are going to be playing immediately. Like Sam Laporta in Detroit's going to get on the field immediately. I don't really like Luke Musgrave, but like also what do they have there in tight end? Like I think you can almost draft 3 rookie tight ends and like one of them is going to play 80 to 90% of the snaps, and kind of see how it runs out there.
It's interesting. Well, especially because again, if you get one of those guys hit, like, yes, they're all going to be playing. So you'd figure that one of those guys is going to put up some fantasy production. And I think that that like trio that you're getting really late in rookie, like in these kind of drafts could be valuable, but it's like, what are they going to give you for the first 6 weeks of the season where they're figuring it out?
So, I would probably grab 1 vet and then 2 rookies.
I agree.
How deep do you go before you're not drafting, before you're no longer comfortable taking just 2 tight ends? Like
it usually for me depends on who's the first tight end I take.
Yep.
Like if I have
right. So like if it's Kelsey, obviously you're not taking 2 more.
Yeah.
But if it's
you're asking like what's the first tight end I would
Goddard,
draft?
are you taking 2 more?
If I go like Goddard and Njoku, I'll stick with 2. So it's like if the top one's really good, I'll stick with 2. If the 2 guys are between like the 8 and 12 range, I'll usually stick with 2. A lot of the times, though, I have looked at like the numbers of the team builds, and most of the time, the 3 tight end build is really like 2 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends are usually the best build for this, and then kind of rip off the running backs and wide receivers in the other range. Thoughts on Irv Smith? I think he's another kind of like late round guy. I mean, it's hard to like buy into him just because the guy can't stay healthy, but he's fun, I guess. I wouldn't like depend on him though.
I'd rather just take like Logan Thomas in the same range.
Logan Thomas.
I think Logan Thomas is a big time sleeper.
I haven't heard his name this offseason.
I don't know why people haven't been talking about him enough. The Washington did nothing to add to their tight end position. He's still super athletic. He was coming off an ACL tear last year.
I like that call.
And I think that he has but like when you talked about like the 2 veteran, like a veteran and 2 rookie, like Logan Thomas is that guy for me, especially with the new offensive coordinator and Eric Bieniemy. Obviously, clearly knows that Logan Thomas is not Travis Kelce.
All right, Alex, cook, brother, cook.
I'm just saying, like, I think that he's someone that would be that interesting late round veteran that I think is going to surprise.
Where is he? He's tight end 38.
Okay, so maybe not in the same range as.
No. I think that's a good fucking call. I think that's good for dudes who are like playing in tournaments and dudes who need late round tight ends where you're choosing between fucking K-Dot and Logan Thomas. I agree. I've always liked Logan Thomas. Just last year was kind of off-putting, just how like he couldn't get back on the field and he kept getting injured and stuff. But yeah, now he's got the offseason. Now we're cooking. Let's go.
And he's the last round of your draft pick. You're never gonna have to take him like earlier than like your final pick. Oh, we're up. So
we are up. Don't need another quarterback. Pacheco, Akers, White. Ooh,
James Conner is still on the board. Yeah.
Do you like Conner over Alexander Madison?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you like him over Cam Akers?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, answer the fucking question. So. Okay.
Until they add another running back, it's still just Keontae Ingram there. Like they haven't added like their Darrell Williams, like which would have intimidated me last year, but it's just Keontae Ingram, like which to me says that it is going to be James Conner's season. And he's been the best running back in football on a points per game basis without Kyler Murray.
Yes. Yeah.
Number 1 in the entire NFL the last 2 years when Kyler Murray doesn't play.
Wow. Okay.
He would have been the running back 1 both years.
All right.
Whatever. We have
Getting
to
taken to school. No, I mean, me personally, I would have probably taken Akers, Madison, Montgomery, but now I might be swayed a little bit.
Do we grab another running back? We have 8
No, I don't
seconds.
think we need another running
So
back right
where
now.
do we go?
Evans, Tony, Burks, Marquise.
Why not Evans?
Yeah. I'm starting to get a little bit of Evans on my teams just because falling into like the 7th, 8th round.
Yep.
Do we have an inkling on the QB situation there? Mayfield, Trask. It's got to be Mayfield,
Well,
right?
I know
It has to be.
OTAs it was 70% Mayfield the first couple days for the like in terms of snaps, and the last 30% was Trask. I feel like it's got to be Mayfield. Like we made a joke earlier before we started talking about how he could be like off-brand Geno Smith. Like I don't think that's going to be the case, but I just don't think Kyle Trask is very good at all.
And like Baker's not good either, but we at least know he can play quarterback in the NFL.
I feel like the way it's like the Bucks team is just so odd. Like they're not rebuilding yet because they have too many good veterans. So it's almost like we have to let Baker see if he's okay. Let him run with the job for like 4 or 5 weeks. If he can't make the difference with those veterans, then it's like, let's see what Trask has. But I think based on the fact that they have Evans and they have Godwin, they have all these veterans on defense, you have to at least try for it.
But also think about their division, because like they still think that they can win a division and win the Super Bowl.
Correct.
And if they
Which
were
is
in
terrible,
if
like,
they were in
they're
the,
dumb
if they were in the
for that.
AFC East, I think Kyle Trask starts a few more games.
Maybe.
But because they're in the NFC South, I think they're more likely to stay in contention and stick with the veteran quarterback.
Yeah, even if they're below 500, like
Yep, because they can
everyone
still
else
win
is
the
going to be
division just
also-
like last year.
You know Atlanta's in that division.
Oh, I forgot about Atlanta.
Yeah.
Desmond Ritter, Baker Mayfield. Give me
Like
Baker
Mott's-
Mayfield.
Why are you asking me this, J. Cole? I like matzo ball soup. You calling me a Jew? I am Jewish, but I don't think I've had matzo ball soup since I was like 7. So I'm gonna answer no.
we have J. Cole in the stream. We have Nick Young in the stream.
We attract the athletes.
Wow.
You put on one basketball sweatshirt and they come running. John Bates outplays Logan Thomas.
I don't know about that.
It's my favorite part of the year when we get takes. We get the John Bates takes coming in.
Yeah, John Bates was like the most for sure 3 catches for 25 yards for about 2 weeks, like after Logan Thomas tore his ACL a couple of years ago.
My favorite 2 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
3 for 25. That's like, what is that, like QB 9 on or tight end 9 on a week? That's not
Yeah.
bad.
I mean,
3 for
honestly, that does
25.
good.
Yeah.
Those are the numbers we're looking for. What's the point of drafting a QB in the second round and never letting him rip? If he sucks, they get Caleb. Near nothing to gain from playing Baker. I mean, if Baker's like a decent QB, you know, like we've seen guys have reemergences with their, I mean, I guess he played well for the Rams at the end of the year last year. Like you look at like Tannehill, you know, new situation. You never know. You never fucking know. You know, and they've been with Trask for what, 3 years now, and obviously he's been behind Brady. But if they felt comfortable with him, I feel like they would just come out and be like, he's our guy. The way that like Atlanta is rallying behind Desmond Ritter.
Agree.
You know,
He's just not good enough. But I think they also like have the cap pushed so far back because they still thought that Tom Brady might be on the team. So their cap is still pushed far back. So tanking doesn't help them as much.
Yeah.
With where their salary cap is.
I mean, I think they'd be happy with either of those guys.
Yeah.
Playing better than they expected.
Definitely.
Only now do you respect me after I said I haven't eaten matzo ball soup since I was 8? Well, what do you mean?
I don't know.
Who's hating?
Why are you guys hating on me? Why are you guys bullying me?
I don't know. I wasn't aware.
Don't matter. Jordan Love winning MVP. Dude, I kind of like Jordan. Oh, you're a Packers fan.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Jordan Love?
I mean, I feel like I know as much about Jordan Love as everybody else does, but I'm like tentatively optimistic. Like I trust LaFleur. I feel like it's good for Love that he got to sit. It's not like good from a team building perspective and like taking advantage of the rookie contract, but I don't think he's going to be terrible. Like
me either. I feel like it's got to be hard to be terrible sitting behind an Aaron Rodgers for that long.
Yeah.
You know?
And he's traitsy. Like we know that he's got like a live arm. Like he's going to make some plays.
Yeah. I'm excited to see him this year. I think the Packers are going to be like kind of a good team. Packers fan.
Do you think that upgrades like where you were talking about Aaron Jones being undervalued because they kind of put him in towards of like a Aaron Jones centric offense a little bit, and then kind of maybe not let Jordan Love win games by himself, but like just let Jordan Love be like kind of like Mac Jones in a similar way where the offense is built around Ramondre Stevenson for the Patriots, but Mac Jones is at least going to be like a solid person they can trust every week.
Yeah,
I'm expecting more than that.
I think that's kind of like the baseline of what I expect, where like early on in Rodgers' career, he was like, okay, let's let him manage games, but then he was making plays. and it like became his offense. And like Jordan Love is going to be able to, toss some of those little just like pop passes on jet sweeps and stuff, and like get some screens going. And like LaFleur can dial these plays up and get guys open on yak and stuff like that. So he's going to have opportunities to like make easy throws. And then if he can do more, like great. Like worst case scenario, I think he's like Ryan Tannehill, maybe.
It's not a bad worst case scenario.
I can't even is Tannehill good at quarterback?
He's fine.
I feel like he's had like great years and just terrible years.
I think it just depends on the year. He's better than Malik Willis and Josh Dobbs, but
not a very high bar.
That like first year that he was starting in Tennessee, like where like they like had a chance to like beat the Chiefs, like he looked awesome. It's not really looked like that the last.
He looked
couple
great.
Years,
I remember
but
I had him in fantasy that year, and I feel like he just kept scoring rushing touchdowns and kept throwing pass, and it would be like on the goal line, and Derrick Henry just like wouldn't score, and it'd be a Tannehill touchdown. All right, we're on the clock. All right, we don't have a tight end yet, which we can fade. What do you? I kind of like Rashad Bateman. Thoughts?
I like him the most of all the receivers there. We could pretend that Michael Thomas is going to be healthy and draft him.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to lie.
No, for what we have here, I think that Bateman's solid.
What's the running back situation like right now?
Cook, Kamara, Charbonnet, Dillon. Yeah,
I like P. Ryan.
Yeah, I don't hate P. Ryan either. I saw today that Javonte Williams was out there running fucking routes or something.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, I don't buy into it.
He was looked good in limited action or whatever.
Would Alvin Kamara be a bad pick here though if he's going to be back like for the fantasy playoffs?
I just don't know what the backfield is going to look like at the end of it.
I like P-Ryan.
I don't know what to think about that backfield really at all.
Me either.
Like, is Kendre Miller just like is he just going to replace Jamal Williams? Is it going to be Williams and Miller?
It feels like it's going to be unusable for like 10 weeks, and then Kendre Miller is going to be a league winner for the last like 5 weeks. That's like how
wouldn't shock me. Yeah, it's just like such a strange. Like, assuming Kamara's not playing for a while, Jamal Williams and Kendre Miller feel kind of redundant. What they haven't had a guy that's like not a pass catcher for a while.
Yeah. I don't really know what to do with the backfield either, which is why I'm just probably going to take Kendre. And also, the reason I would shy away from Kamara, at least at this point in the offseason, is like we have Joe Mixon, who I guess he's not really risky right now, but like I think he's a little bit riskier than most of the guys. So if we just keep stacking our running back room with like dudes who could end up missing time or not be on the team that they're on right now, we could put ourselves in a bad spot.
Yeah, you're parlaying a lot of things.
Alex, question for you.
How's that mic? Smells like Desmond Ritter.
I saw JL licking it as he left the room before.
He's like Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
P. Ryan over Cook, really?
I think so.
P. Ryan over Nyheim Hines.
Yeah.
Seriously.
What are you expecting out of James Cook?
It's probably no question.
Like maybe Nyheim Hines, but Josh Allen scrambles.
Agree.
They have Damian Harris. Like what?
Tavius Murray.
Yeah, right. Like what are we hoping for?
Yeah, I think the people that think James Cook's going to be a league winner are nuts. I mean, especially people always bring up the stat of just like the James Cook's never had 15 carries in a college or NFL game. Like, I know that's like a silly stat, but I think that speaks volumes that even last year he never saw that workload, even when they let him take over for a few games. Like, they've made a point to go and sign someone like Damian Harris that I think low key could be very.
I mean, they've just been very vocal about it. It's kind of like the way that like Philly views Kenneth Gainwell. It's like he's never going to be a 3-down player, and that's like okay for what he is. But like, just come to the realization that James Cook, 198 pounds, is not going to be a 3-down workhorse behind Josh Allen.
Yeah, Damian Harris is probably the best like running back that they've had. Like, he's better than Zach Moss. He's
a good pure runner. He's a really good pure runner.
Exactly.
Yeah. So is James Cook just AFC Kenneth Gainwell? Is that the
I think that's what we just came. I think that's the take right now. Yeah. I just don't. I don't think they warrant anything more than a double-digit round pick. There's a food question for you guys.
Shrimp scampi with some sauce.
I ain't talking about sauce, Gardner. Girl.
That's just like shrimp with noodles, right?
Yeah.
This is your guys' question. I'm not interfering.
I'm not sure I've ever had shrimp scampi, but if it's just shrimp with noodles, I like shrimp and noodles.
I have. Anything with shrimp and noodles is an automatic win. Doesn't matter what kind of sauce you put on it for me. Like, I'm always going to have shrimp and noodles. Like, that's a dynamite combo.
I don't like shrimp unless it's like charred. I don't like raw type of shrimp.
Would you have raw shrimp with noodles?
Like, like grilled where it's got like the char marks on it. You know, I need a little like burnt.
Okay.
Yeah. Light it on fire. Same way I like my s'mores. I like my shrimp. You know,
Okay.
if it ain't up in
okay.
flames, don't put it in my mouth.
Yeah. Do you like s'mores?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not really a s'more
Who
guy.
doesn't like s'mores?
I don't like the marshmallow texture. Like it's definitely my least favorite type of dessert, but I like a s'more.
Really?
Yeah.
The marshmallow is the best part of the s'more. And
Unbelievable.
the
I agree with
s'more
that.
is worse than the marshmallow. It just falls apart.
But you can't put the graham crackers, the chocolate up in flames. The marshmallow's up in flames. You said if anything's up in flames, you love it. So
Yeah. Well,
marshmallow's your favorite part now.
no, no. Stop. Don't put s'mores in my mouth here. It's so dumb. P. Ryan's not cracking the lineup. Cook can give you 4 games at least. What are you
P.
talking
Ryan's not cracking
about?
the lineup.
P. Ryan's going to be like our RB1.
He's going to
at
have
this
20
point.
carries for the first 4 weeks straight.
Yeah. From Red Lobster. Hell yeah. Oh, we're going to Red Lobster in Times Square tonight, boys. We're eating good. Shrimp scampi for the boys.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe some do they have s'mores for desserts at Red Lobster?
I mean, they better.
Yeah.
Tony, call Red Lobster and see if they got s'mores on the
Are
dessert
we actually
menu.
going to Red Lobster?
Yeah.
Okay.
S'mores.
It's on the
S'mores on the
itinerary.
dessert menu.
Came all the way to New York City to go to Red Lobster for dinner.
Do it. Oh, you know they do?
Best shrimp scampi.
Is that what that's where you took out? You took it to Red Lobster? No, we're not going to Red Lobster. No, I wish we were.
20 years old, 2-time fantasy champ. Dude, we got
Hold on.
Some
big time.
Thoughts on my new favorite draft? Tua, this is already too many players. I'm sorry. Sorry, Grim. You're out.
I'm coming. That's pretty good.
2-time fantasy champ. That's serious.
20 years old, 2-time fantasy champ. I'm calling to join. Yeah, we don't know what your league type
You won
is.
$2,000. That's
how many-
high stake. 2-time high stakes fantasy champ.
All right. Well, here's the thing about you saying you won 2 of you're a 2-time champ. It's the same. You know, Noah, when he breaks down his statistics, he's like, this guy played at fucking Northwestern Tech University. Yeah, it's got to be relative to your teammates. You know what I mean?
2-time.
And how many leagues are you
2-time
in?
home league.
Yeah. How many leagues are you in? Right. Like 2 out of fucking 42.
You won, but what'd you lose?
J. Cole, we see right through your bullshit.
We're up next.
You think I'm going to put that up there, Tony? Oh, we're so up next. I saw a text come through, but I can't pull it up. Otherwise, I'm going to ruin the whole draft. Ooh. I'm going to be. Oh, he took fucking Kirk? Yo, peanut butter. You didn't need to do that.
Disrespectful.
You didn't need to do that when we had J. Jeff. Now it gets ugly. All right.
Can we
those wide
please
receivers
make it a point to take Nico Collins before he goes?
We're not going with Nico Collins.
That's fine.
We're just not doing it. Do we have a tight end yet? No, we don't. I'm grabbing Juwan Johnson. Or actually Chiggy.
Every underdog I've ever done with you, I've taken Nico Collins in every draft we've done together.
That's one draft.
I mean, it's every draft.
Yeah, that's already one too many.
Yeah.
That puts him at like a 3% ownage rate on my team. I was listening to what was I listening? I think I was listening to Evan Silva's pod today, and he was talking about how like the new coaching staff doesn't think Nico Collins is a good fit for what they're doing.
Really?
Yeah.
They said that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is, I mean, they went out and signed Robert Woods. They drafted Tank Dell. Like they get John Mechie back. So maybe they're like a quick hitting, fast paced kind of team. And Nico Collins is a fucking slug. Oh boy. I got you, Noah.
Penny, let's go.
He's whispering to the mic, Penny. Hell yeah. That hurts Penny.
He's going to lead the league in rushing.
Hell yeah. Let's go. Let's see.
How much do you think that DeAndre Swift takes away from Penny this year? Like, realistically, he stays healthy. Swift's still super talented. Like, if they both stay healthy for 17 games in that bizarro world, like, who leads the team in fantasy
I don't think that
points?
happens. Like, I'm done expecting Penny to stay healthy. But if we're saying he does, I think it's like a 60-40 split in favor of Penny, like on the ground at least. DeAndre Swift will get that receiving stuff, but I could see Penny getting 200 carries still.
Who scores more fantasy points though? Because Penny's not a pass catcher, so if Swift's getting 40%, who wins in fantasy?
I think
points?
Penny would, because I think he'd get the touchdowns. Okay. I think DeAndre Swift's going to run more routes, but like Jalen Hurts isn't checking down to running backs a lot anyway.
Also, yeah, it's very true.
Probably depends on format too, because I could see it where it being PPR, Swift scores a couple more points. Where,
yeah, I guess it's just so hard to project what their roles are going to be if they're healthy. Like who gets the actual goal line work? Like I would argue, Swift's been pretty good on the goal line. I feel like in his career so far, they didn't give him a ton of work in Detroit, but when they do, he scores. Penny's obviously a little bit bigger, but Hurts takes so many carries, so it's it's hard to figure out where the actual valuable touches come from. So Chig with a 30% snap share is a good bet over Schultz with a better QB and less target comp, but James Cook doesn't get enough play.
The chat is furious that we did not take James Cook.
It's the same guy. It's the same guy.
Okay.
He actually comes in all our streams and puts money for super chats and just yells at me the entire time. It's kind of awesome. First of all, Chig was a rookie, so his snap share is going to go up. 2, how can you say he has less? How can Schultz have less target competition than Chiggy? Chiggy literally only has Treylon Burks. They have the worst pass catching depth chart in the NFL.
What do you say to the people that say that Chigakonkwo is literally just Albert Ukwe-Bunam all over again in terms of yards per route run and like the mega efficiency on lower snaps? Like, what do you say to those people?
I feel like Alberto had like one good game ever. Chiggy had like a streak of like 5 or 6 good games in a row. But I remember watching tape on Chiggy coming out as a rookie, and I was like, this dude is so raw. He was such a raw prospect at Maryland. Like, he was just wildly athletic, but not a good football player. And he kept making big plays last year. So I do have a little bit of hesitancy about him as a football player.
Smith.
Yes. I mean, same. He was like who I comped him to, I think, coming out. He was like raw. Everyone's like, he's so athletic. He's got to be good. But like that very rarely translates. So I'm out. You're right. You know what? We should have just taken James Cook. Thank you, Tony. Confirm Chiggy better than Travis Kelce.
What is this?
I agree.
Probably target share, or I don't know what that is.
Target per route run.
That's the highest percentage of your team's targets went on the field.
Yep.
Chiggy baby. To be fair,
that's really good. Alberto never touched that. Jonnu Smith never touched that. I don't think. 29. That is a good list of names to be in. I just hope their pass volume goes up a little bit this year.
Buns on the Patriots finding every way to cheat imaginable.
Oh, wait, didn't they just have?
They had.
What was that situation?
I think, if I remember correctly, like some of the practices were too physical. Like you're not allowed to have a level of physicality at some of the practices this early. Whatever. They ripped 2 OTA practices from them. Yeah, fucking cheaters.
Is that cheating? Like I feel like that would be like detrimental to your team.
No, not at all. Yeah. More like Albert. No, fucking that's a bar. All right, there goes Tank. There, we just saw a run of backs: Kendre, Khalil Herbert, Elijah Mitchell, Jalen Warren, take Bigsby.
How many backs do we have right now? 4. Yeah,
we've got 4. Yeah, we've got too many.
So we need a max of 1 more if we want to win the.
I think so. Well, this is just a 12 team.
I know.
You don't know shit.
I really don't. So what are the chances that we take Desmond Ridder?
What are the chances?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a chance. It's a certainty. No, because someone took Kirk Cousins.
As long as we get the Matt Collins stack, I'm all good.
Do we have do we have any stack opportunities? You guys think I won't listen, Sam Howell, Terry McLaurin.
Who's on the board?
Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield. Anna, what's up? Anna's coming to draft weekend this year. Let's fucking go. It was for meetings being ruled mandatory.
Oh, okay. That's crazy.
I always wonder, like, how does the league find out about it? A player leaks that? A player like sends that to like someone in the press? So otherwise, like, the coaching staff can't be that dumb to be like, we're making this mandatory when we know it's against the rules to do it, you know?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
That's crazy.
Somebody must have snitched.
Oh, wait.
We're on the clock. A little Russ action.
I like Russ.
You do?
I like Russ.
What is wrong with you guys? All right, but do we look elsewhere?
Nico Collins is still on the
Nico is still there. Do we have a tight end yet?
Yeah, we took Chig.
All right, well, I'm taking Juwan Johnstein again.
I'm good with that.
We could grab Derek Carr. Is there 2? What do you guys like as the QBs here?
I think I like Russ.
Yeah?
Yeah. I know we get the stack, but I'm with him. I think Russ has the big upside here.
Any wide receivers that we like more?
Just Nico Collins.
Stop.
But no, I like Russ here.
I don't think so.
All right.
We can go for like
we can get that Mims Wilson stack.
Do you guys like Mims?
Hate him.
I like Mims a lot. Scott Barrett loves.
No, you're the only other person I found that doesn't like Mims.
Well, I mean, like all the production numbers look nice, but the tape, I didn't get it on tape. Like he just looked lost.
I agree. He ran
terrible.
He ran 3 routes. It was just like that or that.
And there are like multiple plays on film where he was like
Mhm.
looking around like he didn't know where he was at on Earth.
I can't wait for him to flop.
Is there a good comp for him? Someone like that like is the super numbers guy, but the film just doesn't tell it.
Denzel. Well,
I would say like he's
Mims a high pick.
he had nicer film.
second round.
Like he had like, you know, contested catches and sick athleticism and stuff.
What's his actual weight and height?
Marvin Mims?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to say he's like
5 or something.
I want to say 6'3", like 190. But I could be way off on that.
6'3", 190.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong person, not Marvin Mims.
Marvin Mims is really
My
small.
bad. I was thinking of somebody else.
You're thinking of fucking Marvin Harrison.
He's 5'11", 183 on playerprofiler.com.
I don't know where I came
Wow,
up with
okay, he's a little bigger than I thought he was in.
I think the comp I went with, I mean, it's easy just because they went to the same school and are both small, but like he's kind of like a Hollywood Brown type guy.
That's
Just
fair.
a small, like fast receiver.
I think he's worse in Hollywood, but I think
Yeah,
the comp
yeah.
is probably
Yeah, like-
the right.
Poor man's Hollywood.
He's not nearly. Is he? How close to a fast as Hollywood? Because wasn't Hollywood like the low 4.3s? I thought Mims was like a 4.48 or somewhere like that. 4.44.
Yeah, what was he?
4.44, I think
4.3
sounds right.
something.
Nah, Mims didn't get in
Mims
the
is
4.3s.
4.38.
Really?
Wow,
That's what it says on playerprofiler.com.
that is honestly kind of.
Why do you keep throwing .com in there so aggressively?
It's I'm trying to plug.
I'm good at them plugs. Yeah, holy shit. 4.38, 5'11", 183.
I don't know what Hollywood Brown ran.
I want to say he was like a 4.35.
Looks like I'm fucking back.
4.33.
Looks like I'm back in on Mims.
4.32 Oh, Pro Day 4.27.
4.27.
Whatever that.
What was his like official?
That's just, we're not counting that.
I don't remember. They have him at 4.32 on Player Profile.
Okay.
I don't remember
Wait,
who
who's
ran
that?
at the combine. Hollywood
Marquise
Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, Hollywood definitely flew like that.
Yep.
Hollywood was for real.
He's like 20 pounds lighter.
Which Steelers wide receiver y'all liking more? Does Pickens take over? Does Deontay remain as the one?
Easily Deontay. There's 4 players that have out-targeted Deontay the last 2 years. Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, and I cannot think of the last one on the top of my head.
You ever get nervous that he's bad at football?
He might be bad at football, but he's like, I mean, like in reception perception, he's been charted as like top 10%.
It's just drops with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's drops, and it's also like he's not playing with a good quarterback
And he's so
anymore, too.
tiny. Yeah.
And Pickens is one of the guys where like the film looks nice, like sick catches and stuff, but the per route numbers are terrible.
Yeah.
Like the opposite of Deontay.
Alex.
Do you like spaghetti bolognese? I grew up on spaghetti bolognese. Every Wednesday.
I am spaghetti bolognese.
Yeah, I am spaghetti bolognese every Wednesday night.
You ran that as pro day, Deontay Pickens. Yeah, I mean, I'm straight up. I'm definitely taking Deontay over Pickens.
Yeah.
Somewhere,
Thoughts on Jean Morant?
Did you know that everyone talks?
Pickens has an ADP of like 55 in startups right now, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
That's nuts. But Deontay the last year, like everyone talks about no touchdowns, but he had a 40% end zone target share and saw 44% of the end zone targets when he was on the field last year.
Really?
0 touchdowns.
Wow, I didn't know that.
44% of the targets in the end zone went on the field for a guy that's like 5'10",
Okay.
180.
You're selling me. You're selling me on John Steen.
And he's
over here
going
a
as the
little bit.
wide receiver 38.
Let's
Yeah.
take him next.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Let's
mean-
take him.
Trade Nico Collins for him at this point.
Let's see. Oh, Josh. I have a lot of Josh Downs for no reason.
Really?
I love Josh Downs.
What do you think the ceiling is for him though? Like for this year, or is it dynasty? You have him more, or is that
No, in best ball, I keep drafting him in like the 14th, 15th round.
That's not bad.
What is the ceiling? Like probably not very high.
Like
Just
rookie Kiki QT.
stop. I also loved Keith.
He had like he had like 8 catches like 3 weeks in a row as a rookie.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, he had the end of the season, I feel like, where he had that
Yeah.
month stretch. Where
Yeah,
I
he
was
was
like,
just getting like peppered with targets.
yeah, he was fucking awesome.
Never did
He
anything
was in
again.
the slot, right? And he was getting like he's probably
Yeah, like
depth of
2
target was,
yard,
like
8
4.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm all in on Josh Downs. What's his ceiling? I guess it depends. Like, I don't know. I feel as if there's not really target competition there. It's Pittman, and then like you could project Alec Pierce, like tight ends, Jelani Woods and Mo Alley Cox. Like they don't really have anyone as a 2 there. And I feel like Downs is like a real target earner. You know, he's might not be a big time playmaker in the NFL level, but I could see him being like a real slot player.
Yeah, Jamison Crowder.
Yeah.
Somebody like that.
Are we? How do you feel about like in these types of underdog drafts, like taking like the handcuffs, like because I think that like Chase Brown for me for the Bengals would be like the clear handcuff to Joe Mixon. Like I don't think anyone is going to be over him at all over year. Like if Mixon goes down, I think it's going to be Chase Brown. So
Travion Williams. Not a Travion Williams guy.
I'm not a
I
Travion.
think-
Are
I
you?
think-
Are
oh,
you?
shit.
You
I
would
think
know
it's a
better than I
legit
would.
toss-up between Chase Brown and Travion Williams. I
We're
think
on
the
the
coaching
clock.
staff likes Travion.
Okay.
I don't think he's like less talented than Chase Brown.
Thoughts here?
If he stays healthy,
I think we have to go to wide receiver for sure.
Yeah, I like
Uh,
Wandale here.
You like Wandale more than Isaiah Hodgins coming back from the ACL? I feel like Hodgins kind of balled last year.
I cannot.
All right, we'll go Wandale.
Anything that's pro Isaiah Hodgins, I'm not going to hate on. So I'm all for it.
You're not gonna hate on. Oh,
I'm
fuck.
not going to.
I thought you were gonna say.
Oh no, I was going to say like, I'm with you. Like,
Okay.
we'll draft both of them.
Well, I
I'm just
grab
kidding.
Just
Wandale.
double tap Giants wide receiver 4s.
Yeah.
What's the move here though?
Yeah, I don't know. We're in trouble. I think we go with another receiver. I just don't know who. I can't believe Renfro just fell off. He was literally a wide receiver 1 2 years ago.
That's
Insane.
in his second year.
Renfro, Hodgins, Mechie. I'm putting him in the queue. Unless you guys see something else.
Nah, go for it.
All right. Yeah, I'm kind of off on Wandale this year just because he's coming back from the ACL, but the whole Giants situation is disgusting.
Do you think there's a real chance that Isaiah Hodgins like could be like not that guy, but just like be a productive member of the offense like again? Or do you think that it was more just situational last year? Because he balled out even in the playoffs.
It didn't
like,
feel fluky to me. Like when I watched him
No.
play, I was like, he's kind of good.
Yeah.
He's kind of good at football.
and Daniel Jones was looking for him in the big moments, like down their stretch, trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't want to go crazy, but I think like 650 yards to 700 yards is reasonable for Hodgins.
Agree.
You know, and I think like that's, you know, it doesn't feel like a lot, doesn't sound like a lot, but over the course of a best ball season, that's going to be like 3 or 4 big games.
Yep.
Let's see, what do we got?
And he's gonna have that like 2 touchdown game in like week 13 where you grit your teeth and you're like, that's why I drafted Isaiah
Hell yeah.
Hodgins.
He's the tournament winner.
Yeah.
I want to know thoughts on John Morant too. What do you mean?
Dumbass.
What do you want us to say? I love his grit. We need more of that stuff in here, honestly.
Yeah, I love that he just like stands up for what he believes in, doesn't let anybody tell him what to do.
Exactly. I was expecting Miami Heat. Alex, when I first read this title, but it was me, Noah, and just Alex Caruso from the NBA.
That'd be unreal. He's not on the Heat right now, though. Isn't he Chicago?
Yeah, he's in Chicago.
Chirac.
Is that annoying having the same name as like a professional
I
player?
get tagged in it all the time.
You do?
Yeah, I get tagged in it at least like 3 or 4 times a week. So, but it's been nice. Like, a couple times I've gone to like the doctor's office and like I say my name and like give me like a double take. And I'm like,
Everyone
yeah,
turns
I'm
around
like,
and looks at you.
Not him.
Not me.
Like, no, I'm sorry.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, but I usually will like tags on Twitter if I get tagged in it. You know what I mean? Because like, if you're on your phone and you don't know that like it's me and you just see like an Alex Caruso look like your thing,
What's
just for the
what's your Twitter name? Alex Caruso.
it's just Alex Caruso, like no spaces.
Oh, you got like the
underscores,
real
anything.
name.
Yeah, I had to like.
Has he ever hit you up about?
No, he's never hit me up, unfortunately. But he has like the same. He uses like AC Fresh or something like that on Instagram and Twitter. So I don't think he's gonna be coming for it. But you know, Alex, if you were doing your best ball drafts, please hit me up.
Damn. Who's Alex Caruso? We can't do this. Opinions on DJ Moore. Dude, I feel like I kind of want to throw out the Justin Fields numbers from last year, passing wise. I feel like they gave him no chance to be a passer. Like he had the worst line, he had the worst weapons. Obviously, he's going to be like a phenomenal runner, but I also think like I think he's going to be way better through the air than people are anticipating. I was on a podcast like a couple of months ago, and they're like, even if he has a 35% increase in his statistics, I'm like, I feel like it's not a fair way to look at him based on his 120 passing yards last year.
Yeah.
I think that he's going to be phenomenal. I think he's going to be way better passing the ball, but I don't think the volume is going to be there for DJ Moore specifically.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Why can't he be the alpha? Why can't he get 140 targets?
He'll be like, but I just don't.
Is that too high for the overall passing volume of the offense?
I think that's a little bit too high. But like, I think like on an NFL field, I see DJ Moore and Justin Fields being productive. But from I would like to win my fantasy league and be 20 years old and have 2 fantasy championships for $2,000. I don't know if DJ Moore is going to be the guy that gets me there.
If Fields can throw the ball, do they throw the ball more though? Like, is the volume going to be like so?
But they were at 24 passes
historically
per game
low
last year. It's going to be higher, but like,
yeah,
it's got to be higher.
But like they were at 24 pass attempts per game while going 3-16. You know what I mean? It's not like they went 17-0 and like they were down in a lot of games. Like I know they lost a lot of one-score games.
Well, they were just like hiding it at that point. Because also you have to understand, he got sacked. He was tied for the league lead in sacks. Like he took 55 sacks last year. When you have a rookie quarterback, when you have a young quarterback at least, that's how you ruin a young quarterback by letting him sit back in the pocket and getting hit in a second and a half, you know? So it's like, let's hide him, let's protect him, let's build up in the offseason and let's shoot with it, you know? So it's like, I also think that was more of a protective thing than like a game plan thing, you know?
Agreed. No, and the passing volume is going to go up. It's just how much. And where does DJ Moore go in drafts? But I'm all in Justin Fields.
Yeah. I think it's a good point. I feel like people treating Fields like how they treated Hurts last year. Yeah.
Agree.
He'll obviously need to take that big jump and like improve and really work on his game. But I think the pieces are there. I'm not putting up any more of your fucking food questions, J. Cole.
What about Calvin Ridley? I think there's a comment there. Like, how do you feel about Calvin Ridley this year?
Love him.
Really?
I think he's going to go crazy.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I don't think he forgot how to play.
Do you read that piece? I bring it up every time I talk about Calvin Ridley. The piece on
Player Tribune.
Player Tribune.
That was
electric. He wrote a piece.
You never read that
this offseason?
Oh
yeah,
man,
like 2 months ago. It was awesome.
Okay, yeah,
like his ADP went through the roof.
We taking Jerome Ford here or what?
I kind of like Jerome Ford. There's nobody else behind Nick.
There's
Chubb.
just too much hype over the last like 2 weeks. I feel like for us not to take him the 16th.
Yep.
And we got to make another pick after. Ooh, Tim Patrick.
We took Russ, didn't we?
Tim Patrick. Yeah,
we took Russ. We didn't take Mims though.
Mims is. I'm guessing he's gone.
Mims already went. Yeah. Let's get Timmy P here.
Yeah, I like Timmy P.
Cool. Yeah, it's a great piece. It's just basically like what he was going through with the Falcons, and his mental place was like all sorts of fucked up. And he just kind of puts a lot of context behind what he was going through. It was really, really good. It makes you feel like he's going to be a 1,500-yard receiver this year.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And you know he's not that guy, because there was a beat reporter that like I was talking to from the Falcons, and he said that like when he was there, when Calvin Ridley was there, that he's just like such a quiet guy. So like I'm taking from like what he said about him being a quiet guy, that like that really powerful piece that he wrote, like he's ready to go. And there was like, I mean, I know it's like we hear all these things all the time in like the OTAs and training camp, but one of the Jaguars beat reporters said the other day,
John Shipley, he's the best beat reporter they have. He's really
said
good.
That just Calvin Ridley moves differently than any other player in their receiving corps. That doesn't give you like chills.
Yeah.
And he does. Like we've seen him play. Like he
was the wide receiver. He finished as the wide receiver 5 in 1 year.
He was so
like
good.
People forget about that.
I can't believe we just, dude, imagine how good the fucking Falcons weapon group would be if he was still there.
Yep.
Super Bowl through Atlanta. Still.
Do you think it's unfair for people to make the Michael Thomas comparisons, that he hasn't played in a couple of years? Is he really still that guy? Because Michael Thomas is more injured.
Thomas has been dealing with injuries. Yeah.
I don't think
it's also just like so much sus shit, I feel like, behind the scenes.
What's the ceiling for Ridley though? Like if everything goes perfect this year with
time up to Trevor Lawrence entering his prime.
Yeah.
I think he could easily be a wide receiver 1. I think he can get back to like top 8. Yeah.
Yeah, he could be like Diggs-ish.
Yeah. I think 1,410 is not out of the range of outcomes.
Yep.
They're giving the keys to Trevor this year. Like it's gonna run through, like he's entering his prime. It's like it's time for him to, be the fucking guy there.
Completely.
And question, but what did everyone there study in college? What did you guys study in college?
You
finished college now?
Yeah. I have an English literature degree.
No wonder you're so good at writing.
Yeah, I have a major in psychology.
Really?
Yep.
Fuck,
minor in marketing.
Fuck my head up. Do something to me.
Sigmund Freud. That's all. Just talk about the 8 stages of life. That's what I learned.
I studied business. Thoughts on the Lawrence Ridley stack then? Yeah, all in on that. Love it.
That's a great stack.
Last year's BBM winner was a bet on a heavily faded team, Eagles. Which team is that this season? That's a good point.
Great question.
That was Pat Carrain won the BBM this year.
Yep.
You know Pat Carrain?
Absolutely.
I know who he is.
2 mil.
Yeah.
2 fucking mil. He took it down.
Were the Eagles faded?
Am
I just can't remember that.
To a point. Yeah, they definitely were. I mean, Devontae Smith was going late in drafts. I mean,
he was like 7th. I feel like AJ Brown was kind of on like the 3rd, 4th round borderline because people didn't really believe in Hurts as a passer. So like, what's the volume going to be like?
I feel like Dallas Goedert, Hurts, and Devontae Smith were all going in the same like 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, those are guys that you could just stack up on the middle teams. It's a good question. What could be those teams this year? I almost think Jacksonville. Look at
That's a perfect.
You know what I mean? Like Trevor Lawrence is like the 7th or 8th QB off the board. Ridley's going higher now, but like you can get Kirk, you can get Ridley, you can get Ingram all in the exact same spot that you can get that you were able to get Philly last year.
Is that a hint at the script writers that wrote in that the so
the script is finished.
Super Bowl Jaguars bets firing on
Jags versus Falcons going to be an electric game. It's Ridley's revenge game
in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
the gambling bowl.
Actually, wait, the Falcons play the week 4. They play the Jags in London. I'm trying to go to that game. I have to renew my passport though.
Is there any other team besides the Jaguars that fits that could be like that super underrated team that has like a lot of guys that are going in that range, but they're not totally there yet? Could it's probably not as this is a cheap comparison, but could you say like the Ravens in a way could be like that? Because people aren't giving Lamar credit for what he's done the last couple of years. Bateman's gone down a little bit. Mark Andrews gone down a little bit. They have Todd Monken coming in to help elevate that passing offense. Jury's still out on J.K. Dobbins.
I think Lamar and Andrews might be going too early, though.
Okay.
I feel like in order to
I agree.
capitalize on that, you need to find out like who's the Jalen Hurts of this year, you know?
Is anybody really in on like the Ravens receipt? Like I feel like those guys don't get any respect, and maybe that's justified, but like I feel like somebody's going to be good.
I'm in on Rashad Bateman. I think it's going to be him.
The last year that the Ravens had a top 12 fantasy wide receiver was? It's the longest drought in the entire NFL.
1993.
It's got to be.
You said the stat when you were on my stream last month. It was a good stat. I think I used.
It's 292. I think.
Who was it? Michael Jackson.
It might have been. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's like everyone else has done it in the 2000s except
Derek Mason didn't do it.
Guys,
Steve Smith.
Last pick. Yeah, I'm surprised about Steve Smith.
Logan.
Last pick. We got 5 running backs, 8 wide receivers. Do we grab our last tight end?
Logan Thomas.
All right. I feel like we have to do Logan Thomas for the culture. Atlanta's underrated. Fucking factual. Top motherfucking Monken. Could be Atlanta or Green Bay. Facts. Curious your thoughts on Pat McAfee on ESPN since your recent video about being unprofessional. Do you think they'll restrict their banter vibe? Me and Jack talked about this at length on, I think this, I don't know if it's the upcoming big content from Monday or if it was the one we just put out. Listen, I just think he's like too smart of a dude to accept a deal where he goes somewhere that's going to really restrict him. Is he going to have to curse less? Yes. But I also think this is a move for ESPN moving more into like the current age of media. And I think they're probably meeting halfway. I think that's what it is. I don't think either of them are like completely compromising their side of who they are. Running for piss. Did we make our last pick? Oh, yeah. I feel like they just time out and they don't do the last pick for you. But we got Logan Thomas, baby. That's a fucking team. Let's refresh and see the squad. All right. So we got Jalen Hurts and Russ, Joe Mixon, James Conner, Samaje, Rashad Penny.
We didn't even spend up at running back, and that's kind of a sexy little group there.
It's not bad.
Really nice group.
Could be like we could look back in a year though and be like, this is the worst team ever.
Mixon gets cut or arrested or whatever.
Jefferson, Devonta Smith, Terry McLaurin, Devonta Smith, Mike Evans, Rashad Bateman. I think we kind of went off the rails a little bit down here, but our tight ends are also questionable. But Jiggy, Juwan, Logan Thomas.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, I feel like I don't hate the team. All 3 of those guys in that group could catch like 8 touchdowns this year. And I don't think anyone would be shocked.
I'd be kind of surprised if Chiggy's caught 8, honestly, just because of the volume of that offense.
Yeah, fair.
Logan Thomas team. I don't think I'll ever draft him again. There we have it. There we have it, people. 56 minutes. Last place team fire. Facts. Squad doesn't have us. Not gonna lie. That's pretty fair.
This guy. It's tacos.
Answer them, dude.
Every Tuesday.
Yeah, that's
Even
fair.
when you put shrimp in them, spaghetti, regular tacos, it's got to be tacos.
Any advice for someone trying to start a fantasy football YouTube channel? Alex, you went you went when you started creating content, where was like the first place you started?
Podcasts. Yeah, it was
Just straight
podcasts.
podcast.
Yeah, it was like I just did a podcast like twice a week for like the first year, and then someone said I should start TikTok my second year, and then Twitter was kind of more like my third year. So that's been it, and that's
So you
where
don't
I'm
even
at now.
focus on YouTube.
No, I think my biggest advice, like I get the question a lot, like I just post. I think that so many people are so worried about just like making sure that they have like the perfect piece of content.
Yeah.
And then it has to be up to the level of like guys like Nick that have been doing this for so long. Like I think the best thing that people can do is just start posting, because your quality is going to get better eventually. Like the more you just eventually post, you're going to get better at it. But the worst thing that people can do is like be worried about having the best quality video ever to start. I think the best thing people can do that have never done it is just start.
I agree. I think you just have to get on there. I would say though, I genuinely think starting a YouTube channel, if you're starting from zero, I guess it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to build an audience, I think starting a YouTube channel from scratch right now is kind of a bad deal. I think it's a kind of a bad piece of advice, because there are other platforms that exist right now, like TikTok, where you can grow a subscriber base or a follower base of 50,000 over the course of a couple months, where that's nearly impossible right now on YouTube if you're starting from nothing. You know, if you have a Twitter following, if you have a following elsewhere, you can pull people over. The thing I get nervous about giving this advice, where I'm like, you know, make TikToks, you can even do YouTube shorts, whatever. The thing I get nervous about when I give that advice is that people look at TikTok and they think that because the quality of content on there tends to be much lower, people tend to work less hard on that content. So it's like we know, like you and me make YouTube content, like a lot of work goes into those videos, like a lot of research goes into it, a lot of filming and stuff like that goes into it. You have to take the same approach and the same mindset when you're making on any platform. You know, you have to have a baseline of like really high quality content if you want to build a high quality audience. Like people rip on TikTok all the time. It's like, oh, these people, it's like all they do is like yell and complain and whatever. And that is true, but like you'll build a high quality audience if you're putting out high quality content. And a lot of people don't, they see TikTok like, oh, I can just make a 30-second video real quick and I'll blow up. It's like, yeah, but then you're also putting, like, your name is on that shit. Like you're putting out low quality content. Like, do you really want to be the person that does that? And I think there's other platforms you can grow a lot more quickly. And if your goal is to talk about fantasy football and do it at a high quality level, you can do that on platforms that help you grow quicker. So if I was starting today from absolutely zero, no one has ever heard my name, there's a very tiny chance that I would do it on YouTube. I would probably go to TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels, whatever. The vertical ones are the ways to grow.
Well, especially if it's fantasy football content, people should get started right now, because like June through August is like the
Sweet
big
spot.
like July and August for me are like the most important 60 days of the year. Like that's my
for us
that's
too,
my
for
Super
business,
Bowl.
yeah.
Because like August, like if you post anything in August, like people are going to watch it.
Yep.
So like if you can be the most locked in person and post the most content possible for those 30 days, like it's gonna make a big difference.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is for someone starting out to be different, like content wise versus like there's a lot of people who do fantasy football analysis, have fantasy football YouTube channels and stuff like that. Like, do you think you just need to be the person who has like the best work ethic, putting out the most content, or do you need to differentiate yourself in like the content of the content?
That's right. I think there's like a million different differentiators. I think the biggest leverage point right now in terms of differentiation is the platforms right now. Like you have to go, you could go to one of two places. You either go to a platform that's saturated, but your niche is not saturated, which is not the case with fantasy football on YouTube right now, or you go to a platform that's just not saturated itself. Like though you have to build your leverage point. Everyone looks at YouTube now because they see us and they see BDGE and they're like, oh, 100K, like that's what I want to be. But like when I started, there weren't people putting out YouTube videos really. It was people that were either podcasting or blogging. And I was like, oh, I could be like the next Evan Silva blogging, right? But like where you want to go has to be a different place than the people that you're almost looking up to at the time. Right. You can like reverse engineer your way back into it, but you have to be looking, you have to skate to where the puck is, you know? So I think the biggest differentiator, of course, like if you're really, really good and you differentiate what you're doing within the content, you'll get there eventually if you're good enough. I just think it's almost like you're working so not smart doing it that way in a sense. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
being like for you, it's like you were able to build an audience. Like a lot of people know you in the industry now. You had a Twitter presence beforehand, and now you're in front of our audience all the time. But if you just started doing what you were doing, like your work is awesome. I don't think anyone disputes that. But if you just started from zero, it's like you might have a YouTube channel of like 112 subscribers right now.
Right. Yeah. And there'd be 3 people paying, for my website content.
Exactly. So it's like, it's not that the content is less good or like you're working less hard. You just have to work a little bit smarter. And right now, I think the smartest way to do it is to do it by differentiating on the platform. Now, it won't be the case for like TikTok's harder to grow now than it was a year ago, 2 years ago.
So much harder.
So much harder, right? And like, that's going to be the case. There's going to be a new platform in a year from now that we have to keep our eyes out for. And guess what? There's going to be a really popular fantasy football content creator that literally is probably set for life because they were the first or second person on that platform. So I would say keep an eye out on the platforms that help you grow the quickest. All right. That's probably all. We'll probably wrap up there. What?
I like that resume question.
You guys have any advice on filling in gaps in resumes? I'll say if the person that you are giving a resume to cares about your gaps, then you're probably not working at the right place.
Great answer.
We'll end on that. All right. Make sure you're following Alex. Make sure you're following Noah. I've linked their Twitters down below. Thank you guys for hanging out. Go sign up for Underdog. Use promo code BDGE. They'll hit you with a 100% deposit match. And we will be back streaming, I believe, tomorrow, possibly Saturday. But we'll be back this weekend. So make sure you're subscribed. Goodbye.